There is a strange truth about power that most people never discover. The people who appear the strongest are often the weakest. They speak loudly, demand attention, and constantly try to prove themselves. They want everyone to know how confident they are, how intelligent they are, or how important they have become. But history has never been ruled by those who needed constant validation. The most dangerous people rarely announce themselves. They move through life almost unnoticed, silently observing while everyone else is busy revealing their intentions. By the time others realize who truly holds the power, it is already too late. Look closely at the people who have influenced history, built empires, or quietly changed the course of events. Very few of them wasted energy trying to impress everyone around them. Instead, they understood something that most people ignore. Real power is invisible until the moment it is used. It is not found in noise. It is found in control. Most people believe danger has a certain appearance. They imagine an aggressive person with a loud voice, an intimidating attitude, or an obvious display of dominance. But genuine danger often wears an ordinary face. It smiles politely. It listens carefully. It blends into the background while everyone else competes for attention. This is exactly why such people are underestimated. And being underestimated is one of the greatest strategic advantages anyone can possess. Today, we are going to explore the 7 signs that truly dangerous people never show. These are not tricks for manipulating others. They are observations about discipline, emotional control, and the psychology of influence. Understanding these signs will not only help you recognize genuine strength in others, but it will also help you avoid the mistakes that make people easy to predict and easy to control. Before we begin, if you're enjoying these lessons on psychology, strategy, and self-mastery, make sure you subscribe to Inspire Life Lessons and become part of a community dedicated to building stronger minds and stronger character. The first sign they never show is the need to prove themselves. One of the greatest weaknesses a person can have is the constant desire to convince everyone of their value. They argue endlessly to defend their reputation. They explain every decision. They respond to every criticism. They become emotionally trapped by the opinions of people who have no influence over their lives. Dangerous people understand something different. Every explanation gives away information. Every unnecessary argument reveals emotion. Every attempt to prove yourself places your confidence in someone else's hands. Imagine 2 men standing in the same room. One immediately begins telling everyone how successful he is. He lists his achievements, his wealth, his intelligence, and his connections. The other says very little. He listens. He asks thoughtful questions. He never competes for attention. At first glance, most people assume the loud man is the leader, but over time, they begin to notice something. Whenever an important decision must be made, everyone quietly turns toward the silent man. Why? Because confidence does not demand recognition. It attracts it. The need to constantly prove yourself often comes from hidden insecurity. People who truly know their worth understand that recognition earned naturally is far more powerful than recognition demanded through words. Think about nature. The tallest mountain never tells anyone how high it is. The deepest ocean never announces its depth. Their existence alone commands respect. Human beings are no different. This does not mean you should never speak about your accomplishments. It means your actions should carry more weight than your explanations. Every unnecessary sentence weakens your position. Every unnecessary defense gives your critics exactly what they wanted, your attention. Silence, when used wisely, creates mystery. Mystery creates curiosity. Curiosity creates influence. The second sign they never show is emotional instability. Most people lose control without realizing it. A single insult ruins their day. A disagreement turns into anger. A stranger's opinion becomes an obsession. They react instantly because they mistake reaction for strength. But nothing makes a person easier to manipulate than predictable emotions. If someone knows exactly how to make you angry, they control your behavior. If they know exactly how to make you jealous, they control your attention. If they know exactly how to make you afraid, they control your decisions. Real power begins where emotional dependence ends. Picture a game of chess. The player who moves emotionally usually loses. They rush. They become impatient. They attack without thinking. Meanwhile, the experienced player remains calm, even when losing pieces. Every move is calculated. Every sacrifice serves a larger purpose. Life follows the same principle. The most dangerous people are rarely the smartest in the room. They are often the calmest. When chaos surrounds them, they observe instead of panicking. When someone insults them, they study the motivation behind the words instead of reacting to them. When others become emotional, they become even more disciplined. This emotional stability creates something incredibly valuable: clarity. Clarity allows you to see opportunities that emotional people completely miss. While others are blinded by anger, pride, or fear, calm individuals continue making intelligent decisions. This is why emotional discipline is not weakness. It is one of the highest forms of strength. Every day, people hand over their power without realizing it. They allow strangers on the internet to control their mood. They allow coworkers to determine their confidence. They allow criticism to erase years of self-belief. But those who understand power protect their emotions like a fortress. They know that once someone gains access to your emotional state, they gain influence over your actions. The strongest response is often no response at all. Silence is not surrender. Patience is not fear. Composure is not weakness. Very often, remaining calm is the most intimidating response possible, because it tells the other person they have failed to control you. And once people realize they cannot control your emotions, they begin to lose their own. There is another habit that separates truly dangerous people from everyone else. They never reveal all of their intentions. Most people speak before they think. The moment they have a new idea, they announce it. The moment they set a goal, they tell their friends. They share every plan, every ambition, every next move. It feels satisfying, because talking creates the illusion of progress. But words are cheap, and every word reveals another piece of the puzzle. Imagine sitting across from a skilled poker player. Before every hand, he tells you exactly what cards he hopes to draw, what strategy he plans to use, and when he intends to bluff. Would he ever win? Of course not. The game would be over before it even began. Life works in much the same way. Every time you expose your intentions too early, you give other people the opportunity to interfere. Some will discourage you. Some will compete with you. Others will quietly use your own ideas for their benefit. Not because they hate you, but because people naturally respond to information that benefits them. The strongest individuals understand that results create far more impact than promises. There is something deeply unsettling about a person who quietly disappears, works in silence, and returns with undeniable success. No announcements, no constant updates, no desperate search for approval, only results. People are fascinated by mystery, because the human mind dislikes uncertainty. When someone reveals everything, there is nothing left to discover. But when someone speaks carefully and acts decisively, curiosity begins to grow. Curiosity is influence. The less predictable you become, the harder you are to manipulate. Think about people who constantly post every detail of their lives online. They reveal their emotions, their problems, their victories, their relationships, even their future plans. Without realizing it, they create a complete blueprint of who they are. Someone who studies them carefully knows exactly what motivates them, what hurts them, what excites them, and what distracts them. Now compare that to someone who lives quietly. They celebrate privately. They struggle privately. They improve privately. Their life cannot easily be predicted because they never hand over the information that others need to understand them completely. Being private is not about being secretive. It is about protecting your focus. Every unnecessary conversation steals a little energy. Every unnecessary explanation divides your attention. Every unnecessary opinion from someone else creates another obstacle between you and your step goal. The most dangerous people understand that silence protects momentum. While everyone else is busy talking, they are busy building. While everyone else debates possibilities, they are already creating reality. By the time others notice, the work is already finished. The fourth sign they never show is desperation. Nothing destroys influence faster than appearing desperate. Desperation changes the way people see you, whether it is desperation for attention, approval, relationships, money, status, or recognition. People instinctively sense when someone needs something too badly. The harder someone chases respect, the less respect they receive. The harder someone demands attention, the easier they become to ignore. The harder someone tries to force relationships, the weaker they appear. This is because desperation shifts power away from you. The moment your happiness depends entirely on another person's decision, you give them control. Dangerous people never make themselves emotionally dependent on outcomes they cannot control. If someone leaves, they continue moving forward. If an opportunity disappears, they create another one. If people misunderstand them, they refuse to waste months trying to change every opinion. Their confidence comes from within, rather than from external validation. Think of a lion hunting. The lion does not panic because one prey escapes. It knows another opportunity will come. Now imagine if every failed hunt caused the lion to chase wildly in every direction, exhausting itself out of fear. It would soon become weak enough to lose everything. Many people live exactly like that. One rejection destroys their confidence. One failure convinces them they are not good enough. One criticism becomes a permanent wound. Dangerous people think differently. They see rejection as information. Failure becomes education. Criticism becomes something to evaluate rather than something to fear. This mindset creates emotional independence. When your decisions are no longer driven by fear of losing people, fear of missing opportunities, or fear of temporary setbacks, you become incredibly difficult to manipulate. The world rewards those who remain steady, while everyone else panics. Theory repeatedly demonstrates that those who remain calm during uncertainty often emerge stronger than those who react impulsively. Patience is not passive. Patience is controlled action. Every successful strategy depends on timing. Every great investment depends on timing. Every important conversation depends on timing. The person who controls their emotions usually controls their timing, and the person who controls timing often controls the outcome itself. The strongest people understand that life is not a race to prove your value. It is a long game where discipline consistently defeats emotion. That is why they refuse to chase what should naturally come through growth. Respect, earned slowly, lasts longer than respect demanded instantly. Trust built carefully becomes stronger than trust forced through appearances. Power gained through discipline remains long after temporary success disappears. Most people spend years trying to look powerful. A few spend those same years becoming powerful. The difference changes everything. Most people believe intelligence is measured by how much a person knows. But those who understand human nature know something different. Intelligence is often measured by how well a person observes. This brings us to the fifth sign. The most dangerous people never show how much they are observing. Walk into any room and watch what happens. One person immediately begins talking about themselves. Another interrupts every conversation to offer an opinion. Someone else desperately tries to become the center of attention. Meanwhile, one person says very little. They notice who interrupts others. They notice who becomes uncomfortable with silence. They notice who seeks validation. They notice who controls the conversation without raising their voice. While everyone else is busy trying to be seen, they are busy seeing. Observation is one of the greatest forms of power because people constantly reveal themselves without realizing it. Every complaint reveals a hidden frustration. Every boast reveals an insecurity. Every unnecessary promise reveals a desire for approval. Every emotional reaction exposes a weakness. People think they are hiding behind words, but their behavior tells a far more honest story. Have you ever noticed how someone who lies too often usually adds unnecessary details? Or how someone pretending to be confident often talks the most? Or how someone pretending not to care keeps bringing up the very thing they claim doesn't matter? Human beings reveal themselves through patterns. Dangerous people understand patterns better than excuses. That is why they never rush to judge people after one conversation. They wait. They observe. Because one action can be accidental. Two actions might be coincidence. But repeated behavior becomes character. Most people are impatient. They trust too quickly. They hate too quickly. They make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Then they wonder why they are constantly disappointed. The patient observer rarely suffers this problem. They understand that truth always reveals itself, given enough time. Someone can fake confidence for one meeting. Someone can fake kindness for 1 week. Someone can fake loyalty for a few months. Very few people can fake their character forever. Eventually, pressure exposes everyone. Pressure reveals who stays calm. Pressure reveals who blames others. Pressure reveals who remains loyal. Pressure reveals who abandons their principles. That is why dangerous people never rush relationships. Whether in business, friendship, or love, they allow time to uncover reality. Because time has a way of exposing everything that words try to hide. Instead of asking endless questions, they simply watch. People will eventually answer every important question through their actions. Actions are always louder than explanations. Promises are temporary. Behavior is permanent. The sixth sign they never show is the desire for revenge. This surprises many people. When people think of power, they imagine revenge. They imagine striking back harder than they were attacked. They imagine making enemies suffer. But the strongest individuals understand that revenge often creates another prison. Think about what happens when someone insults you. You spend hours thinking about them. You replay the conversation. You imagine arguments. You lose sleep. Your emotions remain connected to someone who may not even be thinking about you anymore, who is really in control. Certainly not the person who cannot stop thinking about the conflict. True power is the ability to choose where your attention goes. Attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess. Once you waste it on every insult, every critic, every jealous person, every internet comment, or every meaningless argument, you slowly become emotionally exhausted. Dangerous people refuse to hand out their attention so cheaply. They ask one simple question: will this matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, they continue walking. That does not mean they are weak. It means they understand the difference between reacting and responding. Sometimes the greatest victory is refusing to enter a battle that offers no reward. There are people who spend their entire lives trying to defeat enemies. Then there are people who become so successful that their enemies become irrelevant. Which one sounds more powerful? History remembers builders more than complainers. It remembers leaders more than victims. It remembers those who created something meaningful instead of wasting decades chasing revenge. Imagine carrying a heavy stone everywhere you go. Each time someone hurts you, the stone becomes heavier. Eventually, you cannot move freely anymore. Resentment works exactly like that. The person you refuse to forgive often continues living happily, while you continue carrying the weight. Forgiveness does not always mean trusting someone again. It simply means refusing to let another person's actions control your future. The strongest people know when to walk away, not because they are afraid, because their future is worth more than their pride. Every minute spent feeding hatred is one less minute spent building a better life. The truly dangerous person understands something few others ever learn. The greatest revenge is becoming impossible to replace. The greatest revenge is becoming emotionally untouchable. The greatest revenge is building a life so meaningful that yesterday's enemies no longer deserve today's attention. That kind of strength cannot be stolen, it cannot be manipulated, and it cannot be destroyed by the opinions of people who never wanted to see you succeed. The seventh and final sign they never show is the hunger for recognition. This is perhaps the rarest quality of all. Most people want to be noticed. They want compliments. They want applause. They want everyone to know how hard they work and how much they have sacrificed. Every achievement is immediately shared. Every success becomes another opportunity to seek validation. Their happiness depends on being seen. But truly dangerous people understand a simple truth. Recognition is temporary. Character is permanent. The applause of the crowd lasts only a few moments. Discipline lasts a lifetime. The people who quietly change the world are often invisible while they are building it. They don't need everyone to believe in them, because they already believe in themselves. Think about a seed planted beneath the ground. For weeks, nothing appears to happen. To anyone watching from above, the soil looks empty, but beneath the surface, roots are spreading in every direction. The strongest trees spend their earliest days growing where nobody can see them. Human success works exactly the same way. People only notice the tree. They never notice the years spent becoming strong enough to survive storms. This is why dangerous people are patient with progress. They don't panic because nobody notices them today. They understand that lasting success is built in silence. Many people quit just before their efforts begin to compound. They become discouraged because recognition hasn't arrived quickly enough. They compare their beginning to someone else's destination. They chase shortcuts instead of mastery. But shortcuts create fragile success. Mastery creates permanent success. The strongest person in the room is often the one with nothing left to prove. They don't interrupt others to demonstrate intelligence. They don't argue to protect their ego. They don't compete in conversations that have no value. They understand that confidence speaks through actions far louder than words ever could. When people underestimate them, they don't become offended. They become grateful, because being underestimated creates opportunity. People lower their guard. Competitors become careless. Critics become overconfident. And while everyone is busy making assumptions, the quiet person continues improving. This is one of life's greatest advantages. Never become addicted to being recognized. Become addicted to becoming better. One addiction depends on other people. The other depends only on you. At the beginning of this video, we asked a simple question. What makes someone truly dangerous? Now you know the answer. It is not physical strength. It is not loud confidence. It is not intimidation. It is not anger. It is not revenge. True strength begins with mastering yourself. The person who doesn't need to prove themselves. The person who protects their emotions instead of giving them away. The person who keeps their plans private until the work is finished. The person who refuses to chase validation. The person who observes more than they speak. The person who invests their energy into growth instead of revenge. And the person who continues building even when nobody is watching. These 7 qualities do not make someone dangerous because they inspire fear. They make someone dangerous because they become impossible to manipulate. No one can easily control someone who values discipline more than approval. No one can easily distract someone whose attention is guarded. No one can easily intimidate someone who has already conquered their own emotions. In today's world, where attention is bought and sold every second, emotional control has become one of the rarest forms of wealth. Most people spend their lives reacting. Very few spend their lives choosing. And that choice changes everything. Every conversation you have, every opportunity you accept, every relationship you build, every challenge you face. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against another person. It is against your own impatience, your own fear, your own ego, your own desire for instant gratification. Win that battle, and very few battles outside yourself will ever seem impossible again. Remember, the loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. The strongest person is usually the one who remains calm while everyone else loses control. The one who keeps moving while everyone else complains. The one who keeps learning while everyone else argues. The one who keeps building while everyone else waits for permission. Become that person, not because you want people to fear you, but because you refuse to become someone who can be easily controlled by the opinions, emotions, or expectations of others. Power begins the moment you stop trying to convince the world of your worth and start proving it to yourself through disciplined action every single day. If this video gave you a new perspective on psychology, strategy, and self-mastery, subscribe to Inspire Life Lessons and turn on notifications so you never miss another lesson. Share this video with someone who values growth over comfort. And remember this simple truth: the most dangerous person is not the one who controls everyone else. It is the one who has learned to completely control themselves.